Hey YouTube, what's going on? It's Wolfbeard, and we're back with another episode. Honor is Undead. This is going to be episode 6. As always, it's going to be starring myself and my co-host, iPixels. Guest star this time is, once again, Sulaco28. Talked about him before. He has a YouTube channel as well. Make sure you go check it out. So in this episode, a little bit different. I'm going to be doing something different here. I'm actually being summoned into Pixels' world to fight the Covetous Demon because I forgot to record in our world. I forgot to record the Covetous Demon in my world. So I went in a Pixels and we took him down. So of course we're starting at the second bonfire in Harvest Valley. And there are going to be a few invasions. You'll notice that as my sim level goes down, I have lost a few times. The invasions will get less and less, but we have a couple videos coming up where we're going to be ganking the Bell Bros, and that's some really funny shit we did there. So anyways, on to the gameplay. Using my pyromancy build as always. Really starting to like it. I've found some more uses with it. I found pyromancy in conjunction with Chameleon or a Silver Talisman does absolutely tons and tons of damage. I actually ended up switching out the Bone King crown that I'm wearing for the Fashion Souls. Instead of keeping it fashionable, I went for something more practical, something that's actually going to help the playthrough along and also help us during invasions, ganks, whatever. In later episodes, I switched to a Hexer's Hood, and it gives me the extra cast, and it doesn't seem like much, but 2 casts of Forbidden Sun is absolutely monstrous, especially considering in the later episodes you're going to see I respect my character a little bit. Gave myself a little less strength, a little less vitality, a little less endurance, and I basically switched it out for faith and intelligence, so I think I have 25 of each now. I mean, you won't, not this current iteration of this character, but in future episodes you will see it makes a tremendous difference for the pyromancies. Seeing his pyromancy skills both off faith and intelligence, not one or the other. The higher both is, the more it's going to do. If you just have intelligence, it's still going to hit harder than having nothing, or faith, but if you have them together is when you're going to get the best results for it. Here you can see we're going after the Covetous Demon, who's kind of a boring boss fight. I know about the trick where you can shoot the vases that are hanging with the undead, and he will go after them and feast on them. But it seems like he takes a lot less damage when he's doing that. So I kind of just don't bother with any of that stuff. I mean, the guy's easy enough as is. It's not like I need anything else to make him any easier. I'm surprised they haven't put out a nerf for him with all the nerfs they've been doing. First time I ever fought this guy, I remember I destroyed him. I was expecting a little bit more out of the bosses in this one, I think. Still nothing in the Soul series holds up to the DLC, the Artorias of the Abyss DLC. Those bosses were just nightmares. Even the Sanctuary Guardian, the first time I fought him, was an absolute pain in the ass. So anyway, as you can see, we beat the Covetous Demon. No big deal. I'm going to be going back to my world, and right now I'm starting off at the first bonfire in Earthen Peak, and you see Lucatil here. I'm going to be summoning in Pixels, and this is where you're going to see Sulaco come in. Like I said, Sulaco is an Xbox friend of mine. We've known each other since the first Dark Souls. He showed me a lot that I do know about PvP, and he's a really good PvP player, and as well as Pixels. So I'm pretty confident in an invasion here that with these 2 guys in my world, I can't really see us losing. Although the builds, like I said, if you've noticed, we don't have your ideal cookie cutter Dark Souls PvP builds. That was the whole point in this playthrough. The point was to just limit ourselves as far as anybody could take an OP build and run through PvP, and anybody could take an OP build and they can run through PvE. But when you limit yourself to weapons that you don't really use, to things that aren't as powerful, it becomes more of a challenge. And I noticed that pyromancy, and I noticed that Pixels build, I mean, when you're fighting the bosses, especially on New Game Plus, with the health boost they get, the damage boost they get, it's a lot more difficult than just being a hexer or a greatsword user, because you're actually I think it levels out the playing field. As you can see, my armor here isn't the greatest. I do switch. I have smelter armor. But anyways, we got invaded. We're using the silver talisman here. You won't see it yet. For some reason, it took me about a week or so to figure out the tactic that I've started to use, which is what led me to respect my guy. But what it basically is out of chameleon. Well, when you're in chameleon, someone's coming up to you, you can lock on and smash them with a fireball. A forbidden sun, I'm sorry. So with the clear bluestone casting ring and with 40 attunement, you're going to have well over 200 casting, which means you can fire off consecutive forbidden suns in a matter of seconds, considering each one will do anywhere from right around roughly 800 to 1,000 damage. I haven't had any problems in two-shotting people. Is it cheap? Very. Is it fun? It's fun as fuck. And I love it, and I plan on dedicating a whole separate video to it. And I'm going to do it to the Bell Bros, because I'm sure we all hate Bell Bros, because they're kind of like this game's the version of the Forest Hunters. I do run into some honest Bell Bros, but for the most part, when they're around one another, you're not going to get any honor. It's very rare. Then again, I was a Bell Bro when I needed chunks before I started using a mule, and it just all depended on the mood I was in. For the most part, I wouldn't gank people as long as they would let me come in. And, you know, I guess I can't say I never did, because I did as a Bell Bro. But for the most part, like I said, I would let them finish off. If they were fighting off the enemies in their world, I let them get that done. Unless there was another Bell Bro in there. Depended, like I said, it depended on the mood I was in. Sometimes I would help the fellow Bell Bro out. Other times, if they were doing scumbag things like spamming hexes and spamming just anything, you know, Wrath of the Gods, whatever it is, I would let them fight it out with the host. And then if I saw my fellow Bell Bro just was totally under-leveled, underpowered, then I would help them. Anyways, this guy that invaded, he was waiting up at the top for us, and then finally didn't go quite as planned. I mean, you're gonna see we still get him, but it's not what I had envisioned. It's kind of a letdown as far as the people in the world and how we were set up. I expected more out of it. Oh well, you know, you'll see. Like I said, I'm getting excited for the future episodes. I know a lot of people really aren't into these right now, and I haven't been pushing my channel. It's only, you know, it's not even 2 weeks old. I kind of got out of it for a little bit. We really got to get back into the playthrough. I've been doing a lot of fight clubs lately with a couple of the guys on the Gamefaqs board, and they're a lot of fun, and they've just been pulling my attention away from this. And the few times Pixels and I have gotten on to do the playthrough, it's coordination with the other players from Gamefaqs. A lot of times I know Pixels works a little bit later, and we're in different time zones, so by the time he gets out of work, it's usually around 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. For me, luckily, I have a back injury. I am out of work right now, awaiting surgery, so, you know, my days are spent doing absolutely nothing. It's not as great as it sounds, because back injury pretty much changes your lifestyle. But I don't want to get into that. Let's just say I have a lot of time on my hands, which is why I picked up this hobby. But yeah, when Pixels and I do get together, we've discovered the love of sitting in the belfry up past the servants' quarters. We really had a fun time doing that. We were trying to get the Royal Sentinel in with this, but I believe he's in New Zealand, and right now my router's shit, and I keep on telling them that telling everybody I'm going to get a new router, and I just get lazy, and I haven't gotten one yet, so it's a lot of router resetting and bullshit like that. But as you can see, I'm going to be talking to the Laddersmith, Gilligan here. He's actually a pretty cool character. I like him. I don't think the NPCs in this game, they don't have as much personality or a backstory as the guys in the first one. Like, to me, there's no Solaire in this game. There's there's no, just the characters that made that game don't seem to make up this game. Like, they didn't spend enough time fishing out what these guys are all about. I mean, they're just there to guide you along, whereas people invested into characters in Dark Souls 1. Like, people absolutely loved Solaire. People loved a guy like Tarkus. He was an absolute beast. I remember people loved the cosplaying as him. Chester, even the DLC characters had some kind of mystique about them that it was drawn. Everybody was drawn to them. In this game, not so much. I mean, granted, it's barely 2 months old, so I guess it's gonna take a little bit of time to grow. I can already see that Grave Warden Agdane's gonna become a big one that everybody likes. I know a lot of people like Jester Thomas, and it's ironic because we're in this episode right now where you can summon him. He's very, very good to fight Mytha with. He does just a ton of damage. If you can hold her attention, even in New Game Plus, and beyond, he will solo her as long as you keep her off of him. He's a very good NPC. I think it's between probably him and Agdane right now who are the most useful. As far as the absolute most pathetic NPC in the game, it has to be Lone Hunter Schmidt. What a fucking useless summons. I had that guy when I fought the Rotten, and he did absolutely nothing but die. I mean, literally within 12 seconds, that motherfucker was dead at full health. So, yeah, he's useless. I don't even bother. I'd rather just solo the Rotten instead of using that prick. Anyways, the Grave Wardens, which, speaking of Agdane, I don't know the whole lore. I don't know why they're in Earthen Peak right now. I know they're the protectors of Agdane. If you go in the crypt with light, I'm sure you know what happens. Have no clue why they're here yet. I don't know how they tie into Mytha. I'm probably missing something here. But anyways, if you go up the stairs, there's a red phantom up here. And if you're not ready for him, he will fuck you up, especially in New Game Plus. He has I think it's the full moon sickle, but as you can see there, he was nothing. And there's also the hidden bonfire right here, which, in this playthrough, I do try to cover a lot of the bases. We both agreed that it would probably be best to show you guys certain things. Like I said, I'm not going through everything, so don't expect it to be a completionist playthrough. Another Arbiter comes, and he's going to go down, I think, relatively quickly. The Arbiters in here, I don't know if they were just a lot of newer players, but they were fucking garbage. Nothing against them, but, I mean, truth be told, look at that. I mean, I know it's hard for a gang squad, especially two guys that have played the game for a little bit, but come on, man. Every fucking Arbiter, I mean, 90% of them, I don't know what he got. I think it was poison. I think he cracked one of the vases and died from poison, but this fucking guy, man, all he did was spam GRS, and that's all you're seeing in this game. And if you're going to do that, guys, if you're going to invade and spam that, expect to get your fucking dick kicked right through your mouth, because you're not going to win. At least against anybody with two fucking eyes and hands, you're not going to win. It's a fucking terrible tactic, and it's just junk. If you use it, you're fucking garbage. That's it. I mean, I know it has its places. It's good for punishing healers and... But come on, man. Like, last night I was in the arena, and this fucking scrub, all he did, he spammed the Dark Fog, the Great Resonant Soul, Dark Hail. It was just a constant spam. And that's it. And then, I mean, he ended up beating me, so I'm sitting here, and I'm being hypocritical, and I'm kind of making myself look like an asshole, saying how terrible it is, yet I lose to it. I chalk it up to... I'll chalk that up to lag, okay? Anyways, I mean, when you're spamming three and four Dark Fogs in a row, and then... it's a good strategy, the Dark Fog, because it has its places, not being spammed 5 and 6 times. People I know that use it the right way. They'll use it in emergency situations. It's good to use if you're a caster and you're facing off against these big, like, these great sword users and just any kind of spammer, because what that forces them to do is, if they have the poison moss or the dragon charms, they're going to take the time to actually try to heal themselves from the poison, because poison does a lot of damage in this game and you're stupid not to heal it. That leaves them vulnerable. That's when I believe Great Resonant Soul should be used to punish. I mean, if you're going to heal, then you're going to get punished. These guys that come in and just spam it, that takes absolutely no skill, and I don't want to hear it's a game and play the way. That's fine, dude. Just that's there's no learn if you're gonna take the time. If you're gonna spend the $60, I'm not telling you how to play your fucking game. You play your game the way you want to play. But if you play like that, you're a fucking scrub, plain and simple. And I don't give a fuck. I mean, you can unsubscribe. You can tell me to fuck off. I don't care. That's just a scrub tactic. I'm sorry. Okay. Now that I vented and got that off my shoulders, as you can see, I'm getting my co-host back. Pixels was kind of disappeared for a while, and I believe Sulaco's in my world right now. We're getting closer to fighting Mytha at this point. Not sure what I was really doing here. I think we were just waiting for Pixel's summon signs. A lot of it, there was a lot of editing. Again, this was about a 43-minute video that I cut down to right under 21 minutes. I didn't realize until I actually went back and did all the editing how much bullshit. That's why if I wanted to do live commentary, I think it would be, you're talking probably, to get one episode in with live commentary, it'd have to be an hour video. Just waiting around for people, getting messages from people. I mean, it's half of the time is spent checking your screen, checking messages, trying to summon, sending messages back and forth to participants. Just constantly, again, as you see right here, navigating your item screen to switch to the name engraved rings, which I thought, by the way, in this game was a welcome addition. The name engraved rings actually it's an awesome idea. It seems like for every good idea they came up with for Dark Souls 2, they came up with an equally frustrating bad idea as far as soul memory. I'm not really sure what the whole thought process, I guess the whole, so you can't, pretty much grief and everything, but it's causing more grief as far as connecting with people than it is anything else. I mean, if I have, what's the point in capping, I guess 150 seems to be the new meta for Dark Souls 2. But the problem with the 150 level is, say you're, I mean, let's be honest, you can get to 150 by 2.5 million, and that's investing in the stats, that's investing in your upgrading all your equipment and whatever else it is, if you're buying resins, whatever. The problem is, what happens when you have a guy that's just constantly playing, invading, fight clubbing, doing New Game Plus, and so on and so on, and this guy's at 25 million souls, and he's leveling, okay, I'm sorry, that's a bad example. What I was trying to get at is, if you're gonna get at 25 million souls and stay at 150, you're hurting yourself. The majority of people that are 25 million souls are gonna be soul level 300, 350, and they're gonna have 50 in everything. So I just don't understand the 150 meta. You might as well just go up, or just keep what I've been doing is I've been keeping a couple of characters at 150. I think I have 3 I keep at 150, around 4 to 5 million souls. And I have 3 or 4 guys that are around 190 to like 250. And I just use those for different kind of fight clubs, mostly for the arenas. But that's just my 2 cents on it. You know, I'm sure everybody has differing opinions about it, but I could tell you one thing. I can't tell you too many people that would sit there and say soul memory is a good thing, that it's not a good direction the Soul series is moving in, and I hope they end up addressing it. So, we're getting ready to fight the boss of this area, Mytha, the Baneful Queen. Another joke of a boss. She has basically that spear attack, and she uses her Medusa-like head to shoot. It almost looks like a... What's the... I can't think of the sorcery offhand right now. It's not Soul Spear, it's... I don't know. I don't know what happened to Pixels there. But I can assure you, he's 10 times better than what you're seeing right now. I've seen the guy PvP, and he just rips through people. So does Sulaco. So, again, it's adjusting to the builds. It's getting used to these kind of, you know, we handicapped ourselves. And you're going to hear that word a lot because I'm going to be explaining, make sure you know that a lot of the play you're seeing here isn't normally what we're capable of. So, just, I wanted to keep that in mind. This fight is going on entirely way too... It's taken way much time. and way more skill than it should. Um, she's really an easy boss, especially, I mean, if you just go in there with Chester Thomas, he can nuke her. She's not hard at all, but it does open up the Iron Keep area, which you can get the Dull Ember, which is pretty cool. But like I said, guys, we're going to be coming to an end with this episode. I'd like to thank my co-host Pixels, as always, and I'd like to give a shout out to Sulaco. Make sure you go check his YouTube channel out. I will link it once again in the details, but that's about it. Thanks for watching, guys. Leave a like and a subscription, and that's Wolfbeard. I'm out. Later, YouTube.